As most of you are aware, Capcom delighted us at E3 by finally dropping a trailer for the Resident Evil 2 remake. Many lucky fans were treated to a playable demo at E3, and YouTube has had various gameplay footage uploaded to it since. But they weren't the only ones who got to play it. Capcom UK announced that tickets would be available for UK fans to play the 20-minute demo at the Server Bar in London. Tickets were limited to 96 people, and I was lucky enough to grab one. Well, I say lucky. What I actually mean is, I was watching the website like a hawk, spamming the refresh button and waiting for the tickets to go on sale. My patience paid off, and I was able to get a ticket for the first 20-minute session at 5 PM, the 22nd of June. I arrived at the bar early and observed the team getting all the consoles and screens set up, but on the screens already prepared I could see the words Resident Evil 2 glowing in the darkness. So, after my attempts to chat up the cute Irish girl behind the bar had failed, I nursed my bruised ego with a quick drink and turned my attention to what really mattered, the demo. I wasn't able to record my playthrough as I don't have the equipment to do so, but I'll be going in depth into my thoughts and impressions of it here. So let's get the obvious stuff out of the way first. The original Resident Evil 2 came out January the 21st, 1998 on the PlayStation 1. Like its predecessor, the backgrounds were pre-rendered. This allowed Capcom to overcome the graphical limitations of the PS1 and create character models with a higher polygon count. And they could also put more enemies on screen. The RE engine means there is no need for such graphical bypasses, as the hardware for consoles and PCs today can easily handle environments created completely within their own engines. Straight away we can see a huge improvement to the surroundings we find ourselves in. It makes the game far more immersive, and it's allowed the dev team to really bring Raccoon City and the RPD to life with highly detailed environments. Of course, they've also been able to expand on these locations and make them look like a battle for life and death has occurred recently. The rain leaking in through the broken windows, stretchers and emergency medical shelters put up in the main hall of the RPD, sleeping bags strewn about the station used by survivors seeking refuge. All of these additions really help create an atmosphere of hell on earth. As I briefly covered in the last section, the RE engine has allowed the developers to expand on the original game to create a truly immersive survival horror experience. The inclusion of the flashlight, which you control with the right analog stick, really helps to build up the tension, as in some areas this is your only light source, and if you get back into a corner you won't be able to see much of anything, if at all. Emphasis has also been placed on sound. In the east hallway, as you peer around the corner, you can hear the sound of something pushing against a barricaded door, immediately putting you on edge. However, it's also the lack of sound that can play havoc with your stress levels as you slowly make your way down a dark corridor just waiting to be attacked. Now we've reached the big one. As an old school Resident Evil fan, I was adamant that this remake needed to have fixed camera angles, like the first remake had. Not just because this was the camera angle I was used to, but also because, for me personally, the over-the-shoulder camera in Resident Evils 4, 5 and 6 was a hateful experience. Now, I thought Resident Evil 5 was okay, but I absolutely despised 6. I really like Resident Evil 4, but for me, the camera was a constant thorn in the game's side. I thought it was too slow and cumbersome for what the game was trying to achieve, and this became a downright hateful experience in 5 and 6. I was constantly taking unnecessary damage because the camera controls didn't react quick enough once I hit the button to move my aim. So I was apprehensive when it was revealed the Resident Evil 2 remake would be using the same camera angle. Now, I don't know whether it's because of the RE engine or the dev team just worked their butts off to make drastic improvements to the camera control, but they've done it. It works, and it works well. I didn't feel hindered by the camera in any way, and being able to look around and just take in all the detail as well as checking for potential dangers really adds a whole new level of realism and dread to the game. During my playthrough, I never got bit by any of the zombies, but a lot of footage on YouTube has shown what happens when you do get caught by a bloodthirsty zombie. The camera really zooms in on the attacking monstrosity, so you get a good look at the face that is about to end your life. It really puts you in the character's shoes, and I don't think it's something I'll ever get tired of seeing. The dev team have done an incredible job at making the zombies act and feel like a legitimate threat. In the original game, you merely have to pump them with bullets, and once you see the pool of blood form beneath them, you knew they were down for the count. Totally not the case with this remake. You have to really make sure they're down for good if you want to keep a hallway clear. I pretty much put an entire clip into one zombie's head and he still got back up. I saw one playthrough where the player used a shotgun to blow half a zombie's head off and it still kept coming after them. I love this new aspect in the game. If the zombies are now a lot harder to put down, then what about the lickers, or the dogs, or Mr. X, or William Birkin? And while we're on the subject, in the original games, if you wanted to save ammo, all you had to do was run past the enemies and go into another room. Well, you can forget that strategy, as the zombies will now follow you from room to room. There are no loading screens for the doors. You will be constantly pursued unless you can reach an area that's inaccessible to the zombies, like climbing over a wall. But again, if zombies can follow you around the RPD, what about the lickers, the dogs, Mr. X or William Birkin? If they can follow you through the RPD, the streets, the laboratory, or wherever you are in Raccoon City, then the only place you will even be remotely safe will be in the safe rooms. And from what I've seen in the demo, they won't be easy to get to. Since the developers are putting a huge emphasis on the survival horror aspect of Resident Evil, resources are scarce, and that includes your inventory slots too. The inventory system is the same as in Resident Evil 7, and just like 7, I discovered that there is a limit to the amount of ammo you can stack in one slot. For the handgun ammo, it was 60 rounds. So you'll have to think about what you'll need to bring with you. Do you need extra ammo? Or do you need extra health items? What about items for puzzles? Like in 7, item management is going to be vital. Defense items, like in the first remake, have been simplified too. Now the combat knife works as a weapon, a defense item, and a tool for opening up new areas. But the knife now has durability. Once it breaks, you'll need to find another one. Carried over from the Outbreak series is the ability to board up windows. Scattered throughout the RPD are planks of wood that you can use to barricade the windows and keep the zombies out. However, as resources are limited, you'll have to think about which areas do you need to keep zombie free to make life easier for yourself as you progress throughout the game. While tame by today's standards, the violence in the original Resident Evil 2 was incredibly graphic despite the limitations of the PS1. In fact, the game opened with the message, "This game contains scenes of explicit violence and gore." And for the time it really did. From being eaten by zombies to characters being torn apart by monsters, Resident Evil 2 pulled no punches when it came to gore, and it looks like this remake will push the limits even further. The RE engine allows the dev team to go all out on the details for each individual character. Bullets tear the flesh off the rotting zombies in real time and doesn't heal back up. Leon and Claire also take damage in real time, and it doesn't disappear after using a health item. We've already seen in the gameplay the attention to detail the team has put into numerous bodies strewn about the RPD. I for one am really happy that they're not holding back on the violence in this game. Raccoon City is a literal hell on earth, and it's only fitting that the remake should reflect that. So, to sum up, I am totally on board with the OTS camera for this remake. Hell, if they can redo 4, 5 and 6 in the RE engine, I'm sure I'll find those games a lot more fun to play. But if there is an option to switch to the fixed camera, that would be the cherry on the cake, but from what I've seen and played, it's no longer a requirement. And to all of you old school fans like me who are saying, I'm not going to play this without the fixed cameras, honestly, give it a try. I was so against the OTS camera for this remake that I was just like you, I was adamant that I would not be buying this game. But now that I've seen it and played the demo, I've pre-ordered the deluxe version on the PS4 and Steam, and if they announce a collector's edition, I'll be buying that too. This isn't just going to be a game, it's going to be an experience, and if you're seriously going to deny yourselves that experience because of the camera change, then I honestly feel sorry for you. I am so excited for this remake. Capcom, please release the demo to the public. I cannot go 7 months without having some form of this game in my life. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, guys. If you liked it, be sure to check out some of my other videos. I'm currently playing through the remake of Resident Evil 1 and the original Resident Evil 2, so be sure to check those out. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to ding that bell too. That's it for now. I will catch you in the next one. See ya!